How's it going, everybody? So, in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about a question I got forever ago, which is if you should focus on quantity or quality. So, I had a couple thoughts around that. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about is sort of how skill gets developed, right? So, as you are developing skill, it sort of rests on a range, which is to say that regardless of the amount of effort that you put in, there's sort of a cap, and that cap is based on the amount of experience that you have and the amount of deliberate practice you've done. By deliberate practice, I mean effortful, intentional practice. These are reps that you've put in on something that you've actually sat down and really focused on, paid attention to, and looked at ways that you can actually improve. So they have been high effort. For creating anything really, or like building skill, but also this applies to rap, getting reps early allows you to start moving your range up. By that I mean, let's say that this is the first time you've ever created anything. If you go, okay, I want to make the perfect piece of music, and you spend 500 hours on your first project that you're making, it's probably not going to be very good because your range is really small, right? At the beginning of your skill development, you still don't really know where effort can go effectively to improve outcomes. So in the beginning, you want to focus on a lot of reps because then you can develop the baseline skills so that you can understand where your effort can actually be useful. Once you get past sort of this baseline, you start to understand a little bit more about where things can be different. So let me break this down in the rap context since most of you are familiar with rap. If it's your very first time writing a verse, you will not be able to create, a super high quality, super high level verse by just putting in more time. What you actually need is more reps, right? You need more quantity. So as you create more and more verses, and especially if you're reciting them and recording them and stuff like that, you will be able to see differences or places that you can make adjustments. And then over time, you'll develop a higher baseline where you can actually spend more effort to improve things. But this can easily fall into a trap too. I don't know if this has happened to you before. It's definitely happened to me where someone has shown me a project that they've spent hundreds or thousands of hours on, and it's not very good because they didn't take the time to sort of build up that baseline, right? They spent 500 hours on this one song or whatever else, and they didn't ever have sort of the breadth of experience to develop in a way that allowed them create things at depth of high quality. So, if you are looking to sort of start creating art and you want to get better, start with reps because that is going to help you, right? You want the quantity. That's why I'm making videos in the way that I'm making them now, is because to get back into sort of this habit and to rebuild my baseline skill, I need reps. I don't need to spend 300 hours on a video because I forgot a lot of the stuff and I forgot a lot of the sort of methods of structuring things, and I also just wanted to change things up. But even for something like this, right, there's a baseline that exists because I had put in reps in the past that will help me in the future to catch back up faster. So as your sort of skill baseline continues to shift up, you gain also higher quality things at low effort, which is to say that by focusing on reps, you end up making better quality things with less effort because your baseline sort of skill has improved over time. So even when you want to go for quality, it's actually still really helpful to produce quantity as well. When I was writing my book, for example, I spent tons and tons of hours working on that book. But in the times that I didn't have a clear idea of how to improve the book further, I would go and spend time writing other things to make sure that I had enough quantity to keep my baseline skill high and to keep improving. Now, when I say quantity, it has to be deliberate practice. It has to be in this realm of things that are actually effortful, right? You have to be making sort of a conscious choice of what you're going to work on or focus on. If not, you will still get some benefits from quantity, but you're not going to get nearly as much as if you actually focus in on certain aspects. So, for example, if you're making music, right, when you're actually making your music, you want to put the time in maybe to just make whatever you want. But when you don't have a clear idea of maybe what to do to improve a particular song or whatever else. Spend time creating quantity, right? Doing drills, doing things that sort of help you improve that baseline while really focusing in on specific things. You know, if you want to compare it to sports or something, right? There are drills that you can do to get good at specific things, and you need a high number of reps to get your baseline high enough so that you can perform in an actual game. But in an actual game, you put in a lot more effort, right? You're performing at a higher level, but that's where effort actually matters. And again, to just sort of highlight the difference again, if you were playing a sport for the very first time, like if it's your first time ever playing volleyball, you can't effort your way into a super high level of skill. You have to put in those reps. And it works for music and it works for really any skill building. You need reps, and the more reps you put in faster at the beginning, the faster you're going to build up that baseline and be able to create better content. That's all I've got for this one, and I'll see you next time.